Let's talk about pick 29. Could Mike Green be an option at 29, or should the Commanders go after another running back? Come on, let's talk about it. Welcome back to Washington Football Maniacs. I am your host, Brandon Scott, and today we're going to look at the first round pick for the Washington Commanders. Should they still go after a running back? They do need that three down back, but could they go after an edge? And I have one edge in mind in Mike Green of Marshall University. And yes, I got family in West Virginia, so I am a little biased, but he is definitely a prospect who I think could solve a lot of problems on the edge. So take a look at pick 29 real quick before we get into Mike Green. So to me, there are three main options you roll with at pick 29. Now, there could be other moves made. They could go after other position groups, whether it be cornerback. But I think that running back and the edge right now are the priorities. Even though cornerback, we definitely need another cornerback. But three options. Number one, go after an edge and Mike Green. So like I said, we're going to talk about Mike Green in a second. But number two, we already talked about it in the previous video, running backs. And there's two in particular real quick. Trevion Henderson and Omarion Hampton that I think could definitely fill the need. Check the box for a three down everyday back. Man, every down back that is. I mean, he's going to play every day. But like I said, a guy who could definitely be that three down back that we desperately need because Brian Robinson Jr. doesn't appear to be that guy. And then option number three, trading back. Right now, they only have 5 draft picks. So there is a situation which we're going to talk about tomorrow. So definitely tune in tomorrow for Washington Football Maniacs. We're going to talk about all the options that come with trading back in the draft. But one option in particular we're going to talk about tonight is edge. And Mike Green, to me, is the candidate to fill that need. Now, looking at where he could potentially be drafted, they're saying right now late first round. So by that point, obviously Abdul Carter will be gone. Shamar Stewart, in my opinion, and Michael Williams will both be gone. Now, James Pierce Jr. and Mike Green both have off-the-field stuff. Now, James Pierce and Mike Green could very well be available at 29. Now, I do like both of them. And like I said, I'm not going to get into the off-the-field stuff. This is obviously not the platform for that. But, you do have to kind of mention it when it comes to Mike Green that he did have a sexual assault case, allegations, it is, an allegation in high school and in college. He was previously at the University of Virginia and transferred to Marshall University. So, there were allegations. He never had any charges. He didn't plead. It just there were allegations. So, but we all know what it is, and with that, teams will look at him as a risk. Okay, so I think the Washington Commanders should definitely take advantage because I think because of those reasons, both him and Pierce will fall down draft boards, and I think that you grab him at 29. I think not only do you grab him, you run to the podium because I think that he could be a heck of a prospect opposite Dorrance Armstrong on the other bookend to really form a one heck of a defensive line for the Washington Commanders. So let's take a look at the pros and the cons when it comes to Mike Green. Now, again, he is a former wide receiver. So he went from former wide receiver to FBS sack leader. Come on now. Repeat the FBS sack leader. Mike Green's path to the NFL draft exemplifies the modern edge defender's evolution. He's 6'4", 248 pounds. He began his journey at the University of Virginia as a 215-pound linebacker before transforming into one of college football's most disruptive pass rushers. After the 2022 hiatus from football, obviously due to off-the-field stuff, Green transferred to Marshall, where he quickly established himself as a force off the edge. So, he is a local guy, former Lafayette High School star from Williamsburg. So he is local. Let's see. So some strengths. Now, his comparison is Von Miller, so they ain't too shabby for comparison. Explosive first step and bend around the edge, reminiscent of Von Miller. Consistently beats tackles with pure speed and ankle flexation. All right, an advanced pass rush repertoire featuring devastating cross chop move and a fluid spin counter that keeps blockers guessing. But what else do I like about him, man? A couple other things, right? He does have a wrestling background. Shows up in his sophisticated hand usage and ability to slip blocks in tight quarters. Also, elite change of direction skills enabling him to redirect and flatten two quarterbacks when tackles are overset outside. And finally, natural instincts for rushing the passer. Sets up moves early and counters based on the tackle's tendencies. So he's a guy who has a lot of energy off the edge, man. And like I said, with Dorrance Armstrong on the other side, who he played well this previous season for the Commanders, I think you need to add a guy in the draft. And I think Mike Green is that guy because, again, most of the guys in his draft class, I think, will be gone. And you can obviously go over other names. We're going to go over some other names later this week. Obviously, defensive end out of Ole Miss. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name right now. So, like I said, you do have some other options that you can go after in the second round or beyond. But I think if you really want to get a guy who could step right in and be a starter, in my opinion, Mike Green's your guy. And obviously, if the other guys on the list are available, I mean, Abdul Carter's going to be gone in the top 5. Shamar Stewart probably gone in the top 10, 15. Michael Williams, 15 to 20. James Pierce, 20 to 25, maybe 30. So I think James Pierce Jr. and Mike Green would both be in the area of 29. And if they're not, then we go after other positions. But with every pro, there is a con. Now, what are some weaknesses? Well, number one, he does lack the ideal bulk and length for setting the edge against NFL tackles in the run game. So it's something to work on. What else? Tennessee to leave his feet as a tackler leads to missed opportunities in space. So he's definitely got to work on that. It's something I definitely want to see Dan Quinn and company work on. And finally, upper body strength needs development. He struggles to disengage much longer tackles, longer to his frame. So he can definitely, kind of want to see him take the Aaron Donald approach, get into the weight room, get strong, man. Especially when you look at Von Miller. Von Miller's a guy who lives in the gym. I think it's a good comp. And I definitely explore you guys to go look at his tape and explore his scouting report. He's a guy who has shown great energy, but in the NFL, just ask Chase Young. In the NFL, speed, you can't just have speed. You got to have strength. And Chase Young was a guy who had plenty of speed, but not the strength or technique to get in there and be as effective like he was at Ohio State. So I think that Mike Green does definitely needs work, but he's a guy who could definitely be a high-level defensive end in the NFL. So kind of in summary, and like I said, I'm going over scouting report right now. So shout out to NFLDraftBuzz.com. And in summary, he says Green's calling card as an NFL edge defender will be his explosive first step and sophisticated rush plan that keeps tackles off balance. So again, that blend of speed and technique projects well to passing downs, though his 248-pound frame raises legitimate concerns about holding up against NFL offensive tackles in the run game. So again, this is really my summary right here, and I think that we should definitely go after Mike Green. Yes, is it risky to a certain degree? 2 sexual assault allegations. He was never charged with anything. So, but that will be a red flag for some teams. I think and the reason I say that the Washington Commanders should definitely look to give him, I guess he had 2 instances of having issues, so a third chance, is because we have everything in place for him to be successful, to really, fine tune his character. And they have guys who are going to really get into his character and really do the due process as far as, is he, a guy where, a good locker room guy, is he a guy that's not going to bring issues to the locker room? So I think that with Dan Quinn in place, with Adam Peters in place, with Josh Harris in place, if it was the previous owner, I'm not going to say that knucklehead's name, but I would have to worry because he was not going to do his due process. He was just going after whoever you wanted to go after, whoever you liked. But you have adults in the building now. So with Dan Quinn and his staff in place, they would set him straight if he was indeed a bad character or a bad locker room guy. Now, I don't want to put anything on the young man that's not true. Like I said, I don't know anything about the young man. I'm going off of 2 instances of allegations. He could be a great locker room guy. He could be a great young man. So I don't want to put anything on him because I don't think that's right when it comes to that. That's why I think that, a lot of teams are going to look at him as being risky, but I think we have the coaching staff in place that they're going to get him put on the right path. You got leaders on his team in Bobby Wagner, who, again, is going to work with him. He's going to kind of take him aside, take him on his wing, and work with the young man. I think that if you give him direction, you give him purpose, he will be all right. Not only will he be all right, he will be one heck of an NFL pass rusher on the edge, man. Does need some work, but at 29, you're getting a little further from sure things, man. Like at 29, you still look. I mean, within the first 2 rounds, you still want to see. You can still go out there and get starters, man. But this is where you can take that chance, 29. Even though I do think, and like I said, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, there's a great possibility that we will trade back, and it brings other options. But like I said, I think that if we stand pat at 29, he would be one good prospect to look at. So you guys get in the comment section. Let me know, do you agree or disagree and why? And we'll catch you guys tomorrow night. We're going to talk about what options emerge for the Washington Commanders if they indeed trade back in the NFL draft. Come on, rock with us tomorrow night. Hail to the Commanders and peace. See you guys next time.